Hey there, welcome to another long-distance worship service. I'm Cleaver Van Zant, minister of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Venice. If you'd like to know more about this congregation and its many opportunities for learning, growth, and connection, you can peruse our calendar and announcements on Facebook or on our webpage at UUCOV.org. If you're watching this on YouTube, please remember to like this video by hitting the thumbs up icon down below. Leave us a note in the comment section there and click the subscribe button on that YouTube channel. And please consider clicking the donate button on our website and giving as generously there as you can. This Thursday evening, December 24th, is Christmas Eve. And while we can't get together face-to-face this year, you will be able to go to our website or our YouTube channel at 6 p.m. and watch a pre-recorded service that will feature a presentation from a couple years ago when Grace Grote and Lori Barabole read the story of Tagalong, the Christmas Angel. Then at 7, there will be a holiday party on Zoom. Login information for that event will be on Facebook. It'll be on our website and in our Friday email blast. We hope you'll join us on Christmas Eve at 6 p.m. for the service and at 7 p.m. for the holiday party on Zoom. This continues to be a difficult time for many of us and our neighbors, and we hope you'll find something in this service that speaks to you and maybe lifts you up or challenges you in ways that lead to spiritual reflection and personal growth. We're glad you've chosen to join us. Welcome to church today. The prelude begins our service. As in many pagan traditions, we begin today with the casting of a circle. I prepare a circle of magic and love to be a boundary between the world of human beings and the realm of spirit. This circle will protect us and hold tight the magic we shall raise for this gathering. This shall be true in the names of all the ancient ones. So may it be. And our call to worship is from the pagan traditions also around the winter solstice. Again did the earth shift. Again did the nights grow long and the days short. And the people of the earth were glad and celebrated each in their own ways. Let us worship together. Our hymn is "The Earth is Our Mother." We'll sing 3 verses.
We must take care of her. Hey. the sacred ground we walk upon. With every step we take, the sacred ground we walk upon. With every step we take. Hey Yunga, oh Yunga, hey Yung Yung. Hey Yunga, oh Yunga, hey Yunga. The earth is a mother, she will take care of us. The earth is a mother, she will take care of us. Hey Yunga, oh Yunga, hey Yung Yung. Hey Yunga, oh Yunga, hey Yung Yung.
Our children have their own religious education class by Zoom each week, Sunday at 10 a.m. If you'd like to attend, or if you'd like to help your child to attend, login information can be found on our website at UUCOV.org or on our Facebook page. This week we have a video from Karen Childs and Ivy Butera with a video scrapbooking of a story called The Rebirth of the Sun that was written by the author Starhawk.
The Rebirth of the Sun. Circle round, and I'll tell you a story about when the sun was born again. It was the middle of winter, and the sun had grown very old. All year long, the sun had worked very hard, rising and setting day after day. All year long, the sun had fed everybody on earth, shining and shining, giving energy to the trees and the flowers and the grasses so that they could grow and feed the animals and the birds and the insects and the people. All year, the sun's gravity held tight to the spinning ball of the earth and the twirling ball of the moon and the 8 other whirling planets as they traveled around and around and around until the poor sun was dizzy watching it all. Now the poor tired sun could barely make it up in the morning, and after a very short time needed to sleep again. So the days grew shorter and shorter, and the nights grew longer and longer until the day was so short it was hardly worth getting up for. Night felt sorry for the sun. "Come to my arms and rest, child," she said. "After all, I am your mother. You were born out of darkness billions of years ago, and you will return to me when all things end. So let me cradle you now as I shelter every galaxy and star in the universe." So the night wrapped her great arms around the sun. The night was very long indeed. "Why does the dark go on so long?" asked the children all over the earth. "Won't the sun ever come back again?" "The sun is very tired," the old ones said. "But maybe, if you children say thank you for all of the things the sun does for us, the light may return in the morning." The children sang songs to the sun, and they thought about all of the things that the sun had gave them. Every time a child said thank you, the sun began to feel a little warmer and a little brighter. Wrapped safely in the arms of night, the sun grew younger and younger. At last, the children had to go to bed. "We will stay up and wait for the sun to rise again," the old ones said. "Can't we stay up too?" asked the children. "You can try, but you will get sleepy," the old ones said. "But you can each light a candle. because all fire is a spark of the sun's fire. Put your candle in a very safe place and let it keep vigil for you as you sleep and dream of sunrise." So each of the children lit their candles and put them in a very safe place, and each flame was a little spark of the sun's fire. And the sun peeped out from between the arms of night and saw all the little fires, and began to feel warmer and brighter and younger still. Early in the morning, the old ones woke the children. Together they climbed a high hill and faced to the east, the direction of the sunrise. They sang songs and ran around trying to keep warm, and they waited to see what dawn would bring. The sky began to turn from black to indigo to blue, and slowly the sky grew light. A golden glow crept over the horizon, and night opened her great arms, and in a burst of brightness the sun appeared, new and strong and shining. For in the very long night the sun had rested and had grown young from the songs and the thanks of the children, young as a brand new baby born out of the night once more. Everybody cheered and the children jumped up and down. "The sun has returned! The sun is reborn!" the people cried. And they danced and they sang to celebrate the birth of a new day. And then they went home to breakfast.
Our meditation today comes from Joan Goodwin and is a call to the four directions. Spirit of the East, Spirit of air, of morning, of springtime, be with us as the sun rises, in times of beginning, in times of planting. Inspire us with the fresh breath of courage as we go forth into new adventures. Spirit of the South, Spirit of fire, of noontime and summer, be with us through the heat of the day and help us to be ever growing. Warm us with strength and energy for the work that awaits. Spirit of the West, Spirit of water, of evening and autumn, be with us as the sun sets and help us to enjoy a rich harvest. Flow through us with a cooling, healing quietness and bring us peace. Spirit of the North, Spirit of earth, of nighttime and winter, be with us in the darkness, in the time of gestation. Ground us in the wisdom of the changing seasons as we celebrate the spiraling journey of our lives. We lift up those in this community who face change, challenge, or loss this day as we hold within our hearts all who suffer. And now we pray each in our own ways into the silence. The hopes of this community are offered forth in the names of all those who've gone before and in the names of all those who will come after, in the names of all the helpers of humankind. Shalom, salam, amen, and blessed be. Our interlude is Purer Than Purest, arranged and performed by our Director of Music, Dr. Marcel Leonard. This has been a dark, dark season for a whole bunch of reasons. The surge of new cases and numbers of deaths due to COVID-19 is truly frightening. The political response to the pandemic has been bewildering, maddening, counterproductive. Even as vaccines begin to roll out, there's still fake news floating about. And our society remains divided almost right down the middle about which story is fake news and which is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. It's been dark. But those are not actually the kinds of darkness I wanted to talk about today. The darkness I'd rather focus on for a few minutes is the winter solstice kind of darkness. Short days and long nights. That changes, of course, on the solstice itself, which is the tipping point when the days start to lengthen a little bit and the nights no longer dominate so much of our lives. Now, the holidays this time of year, Hanukkah, Christmas, even solstice to some extent, are largely about light. The miracle of the light in the temple, the birth of the light of the world, the return of the light after a dark season. But would it be too much to ask to take a few minutes to sit with the dark, to understand the dark as necessary to life, and to celebrate the blessings the dark provides? So, the dark. Along with all the actual troubles in the world, there was a day when I couldn't find my sunglasses. I didn't figure out they were missing until the sun came out because, that's when you need sunglasses. So that's when I looked for them during the day. I checked hurriedly in all the usual places, but to no avail. Then later that night, after I had turned off almost all the lights in the house, I thought about it again, and I had this fleeting thought to check the closet one more time. So with no lights on in the house or in the closet, I found the sunglasses, safely tucked away in this jacket that, during these days of pandemic, I really only wear for these services. And yes, now I remember, I put them away in my chest pocket sometime that day that I had come to church before sunset and stayed into the evening for a nighttime recording session. Why couldn't I find my sunglasses during the day when it was bright and shiny outside but dark in the closet? Well, one reason might be maybe my eyes had to get used to the dark. Like those times when you get out of bed in the middle of the night and you find you can pretty much see okay in the small amount of ambient light in your bedroom. That happens to me a lot when it seems so dark going to bed, and then hours later I wake up and in wonder at how well I can see after my eyes have gotten used to the darkness. Maybe there's something else too. During the daytime, I'm involved in a lot of things. My monkey mind jumping around the jungle gym of my to-do list. And I had looked more than once on the shelf, in the car, in the closet, in my pants pockets. But I hadn't taken the time to look very thoroughly, and I hadn't been able to lay my hands on the glasses. But then it got dark outside, and I started to calm down for the night, and I thought to look one more time. I took the time to search more slowly. Once I had let go of the day's hectic events, there they were, the sunglasses I had looked for time and again during the day. Maybe such things happen to you. I don't know. One thing that happens to a whole lot of us, I believe, is that as the days get shorter and the nights oh so much longer, the holidays then begin to loom, and even though many of us won't be able to visit with our families this year, there's still a lot on our minds, and we let the stuff going on out there make us more and more anxious in here, and we start running around in circles in our own minds. Now remember, hearing Grace Grote and Marjorie Elkady tell us in this very sanctuary a few years back that when one reaches a certain when one reaches a certain age, one had best not run in circles anymore. Better to walk in squares. Grace told us you should walk in squares so as not to get dizzy and fall over and break something. Now the point, I think, is the same, whether running in circles or walking in squares or worrying over every little thing. We have a tendency to let things get pretty hectic this time of year. Maybe the message is, and I need to hear this just as much as anybody else, don't let the ambient culture take over quite so much. Maybe we'd be better off if we did what people of old used to do, which is pay more attention to the cycles of the season. The darkness of this season may be saying to us, slow down a little if you can. Take it a little easier. If you don't have little ones dancing around in the morning, pull the covers up over your head for an extra 3 minutes or 30. If there's any way at all, settle in somewhere longer than you might normally do, reading or writing or whatever it is you do that feels a little bit like hibernating. Pay attention to the flow of the seasons. I carry with me some words that come from a young mother named Jennifer who had little ones at home when she wrote this piece. And because she was a member of a Unitarian Universalist congregation up north, there's going to be a little bit of difference in her references to weather from where most of us find ourselves today. But wherever you are in the northern hemisphere, the season is the same, if not the temperature. So I hope you can translate these words weather-wise. Jennifer writes, winter, a time of hibernation, reflection, consideration. A time to sit still in the darkness. A time to find a warm hearth in the cold, or to feel the cold in your bones. A time of eating life-nourishing foods. A time for cooking, laughing, celebrating. Also a time for quiet. A time for evenings sitting before a tree of lights and simply meditating on beauty. A time to turn inward. And she continues, in our culture, there is a tendency to always be rushing on to the next thing, always be on the run, always go, go, go. The holiday season seems to have become the epitome of the rush. While there is value in drive and in dedication to getting things accomplished, there is also value in pausing. So, pause, listen, look, feel, smell, taste, breathe, love. Thank you, Jennifer. And you remember that prayer we said a minute ago to the four directions. Those words take into account the flow of both the circadian rhythms and the cycling of the seasons. Spirit of the east, of morning and springtime. Spirit of the south, of noontime and summer. Spirit of the west, of evening and autumn. Spirit of the north, of nighttime and winter. Now, these words pay close attention to the rhythm of the day as well as to the flow of the year. We can hear that reading together, but do we live that way? I certainly don't live like that as much as I might. Wouldn't it be exciting to try something different from time to time? It's a time of darkness, so why not use the darkness to our advantage? I realize we're not in the same space, but maybe we can try something different together. In a moment, I'll ask you to try holding your head in a different orientation than the usual, to the front or the side or the back. And you can do this anywhere, especially if you're in a place that you're not used to, in a different chair, in a different room, or outside somewhere. If you think about it, most of us spend our lives either standing up or sitting down with our heads generally up and looking out, or we're lying down sleeping. But as I say, let's try something different. Tilt your head a little bit one way or the other. Close your eyes and settle in and calm down for just a moment. Let your eyes soften and your body relax. Then with your head in this slightly different orientation than normal, very, very slowly open your eyes, taking the time to look, to really look in whatever direction you're facing and at whatever your eyes are showing you. What do you see? You notice anything different than you imagined you would? Is the carpet more textured? Is the wall more lumpy? The ceiling at a funny angle? I know this doesn't seem like a big deal, and maybe trying it this once didn't give you such a different perspective after all. One of the things that gets in the way of actually noticing what we're looking at is that we already have a map of the world in our heads. As we're growing up, the miracle and mystery of the way the world happens to be is replaced little by little by the framework we carry around in our heads of the way the world ought to look rather than the way the world actually is. Simple example. I realize that when I'm proofreading a document, whether it's mine or anybody else's, what I think I see on the page is so often overridden by my brain's expectation of what it thinks ought to be there. my brain will add letters or transpose a few to match what I think ought to be there in front of me instead of what's actually written on the page. You ever notice anything like that in your own life? Now, I think this kind of thing must extend to other facets of the way we engage the world. We go through life allowing our brains to help us find the path of least resistance in a way. We think we know how things are supposed to look, so that's what we see. We already know how things are supposed to be, so that's the way we perceive them, often without regard for what's right in front of us. I suppose this way of seeing what we expect to see might keep us safe and helps us navigate the world without us becoming too exhausted. But sadly, this phenomenon also keeps us from seeing and experiencing what's actually right there before our eyes, but we don't notice it because it doesn't fit the way we've been taught or the way we've taught ourselves to see the world. Many of us have been taught that it is the light we ought to look for, that we ought to focus on, that we ought to celebrate this time of year. But how will we ever appreciate the light if we don't experience the darkness now and again? Maybe slowing down a little, maybe paying attention a little differently, maybe hunting for your glasses or sitting still in the darkness. Maybe that'll lead you somewhere you wouldn't expect to go. The winter solstice is a magical time of year when the heavens align just so, and the shadows lengthen early, and the dark comes on and stays on for hours and hours and hours. The dark invites us to slow down, to let go of our most cherished assumptions, to see a little bit differently, and to marvel in the immensity of the gift that is this life. If I can sit in the darkness, if I can let my vision adjust, if I can let myself lean into a different attitude, a different mental framework, a different emotional space, I might just be able to sense things a little differently. In the dark, I might actually become more aware of and content with the magic and the mysteriousness of it all. The dark matters. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke said so like this: "You, darkness that I come from, I love you more than all the fires that fence in the world, for the fire makes a circle of light for everyone, and then no one outside learns of you. But the darkness pulls in everything, shapes and fire, animals and myself. How easily it gathers them, powers and people. And it is possible a great energy is moving near me. I have faith in nights," Rilke said. So may we, and so may it be. Our hymn is "Deck the Halls."
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la. Passed away the old year passes, fa la 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 la.
And now a benediction to open the circle we cast back at the beginning. This circle into the ground dissolve, as I beg of it with high resolve. This circle shall no longer be, all magic shall be now set free. Our circle is open but unbroken. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Go in peace, walk softly on your paths, and may the light of love shine on you all your days.